Yeah, Rex. Welcome to the realm between the edge of twilight and the darkness of night. This is the New Dominion, and I am Dusk Cerberus. In this story, I explore the lore regarding the Krogan and how their natural ability to adapt to the most hostile environments leads them to their ultimate downfall. Perhaps by reading the lore, I can find a better alternative to the fate that befell this noble warrior race before a terrible and controversial bioweapon was used against them.
Witnesses saw you making threats in Fist's bar. Stay away from him.
I don't take orders from you.
This is your only warning, Rex.
You should warn Fist. I will kill him.
You want me to arrest you?
I want you to try.
This video will be about the Krogans and the Genophage, and whether or not there might have been a better alternative instead. As I like to do, we'll start by going over Krogan physiology and biology to get a better sense of this mighty species and how they evolved on a hostile world with numerous natural predators on Tuchanka. The Krogan have wide-set eyes common among prey animals. This gives them a full 240-degree vision range with greater visual acuity and awareness than other species. That's better than us humans, actually. The Krogan are also able to reproduce and mature at an astonishing pace. Females could produce clutches of up to 1,000 fertilized eggs a year. This is significantly more than the Solarians' 12 eggs per year. It is unfathomably fast how quickly they can produce offspring, but on a world as hostile as Tuchanka, that rate was barely able to keep up. Killed by predator was the #1 cause of death on pre-industrial Krogan, and then when Krogan developed gunpowder, it then became killed by gunshot. The Krogan homeworld was so hostile that the species developed redundant organs like 2 hearts, 4 lungs, for example. And that meant an individual could suffer from serious injury and continue to function. Krogan are usually over 7 feet tall and heavy creatures with large shoulder humps that store water and nutrients if the individual needs to go without food or water for an extended period of time. Krogan also have very thick hides which are impervious to cuts, scrapes, and contusions. This also makes them highly resistant to hazardous environments with toxins, radiation, and changes in extreme temperatures. As a result to these adaptations, Krogans can also consume food and drinks that would be dangerous to other species. So needless to say, a Krogan is incredibly hard to kill. They are very hardy, combined with their fertility rates. They were a natural match to the hostile Rachni, which I talked about in the Solarian video, which you can check out here. The Rachni were an insect spacefaring species that threatened to destroy all of the galaxy, and the Krogan were a natural, fearsome force that was able to stop that from happening. Ending the Rachni Wars, you would think that the Krogan would be celebrated as heroes, right? I mean, they even have a statue commemorating their victory over the Rachni in the Citadel. So what happened to them? What caused them to become such a dying population, which we later see in Mass Effect?
What tradition demands, Clan Erdnot must respond. Your reforms will not go unopposed. You risk appearing weak at a critical time.
Looking at the history in the Lore Codex, we find a surprising answer. It started on Tuchanka with the Krogans having developed nuclear weapons of mass destruction. Having conquered their hostile planet, the species then turned on itself, fighting for resources and territory. As it was mentioned before, predators were the #1 cause of death for Krogan pre-industrial era. Once they developed gunpowder and were able to manufacture weapons, the #1 cause of death then shifted to gunshot by other Krogan. Ultimately, nuclear bombs fell on all the cities across their world, leaving it barren and destroyed, and the resulting nuclear winter left the Krogan as primitive clans fighting for survival on a very, very desolate planet.
I'll do what I'm bred to do. Fight and determine the strongest. Without a reason that's mine. One fight is as good as any other.
That was until the Solarians arrived and gave them technology to uplift them, including a new world to colonize, a lovely garden planet with a stable and pristine environment. This, combined with Solarium technological aid, the Krogan were able to rebuild and for their population to explode to new levels never before seen. Once the Krogan were comfortably safe from extinction, the Solarians asked them to fight for the galaxy by defeating the Rachni, who were conquering world after world, eager to fight, which as we all know, they agreed and did well. Now, with the Rachni Wars over, the Krogan then became a problem for the galaxy in and of themselves. See, they have always been a violent and aggressive species, never claiming to be otherwise. Fueled by the victory over the Rachni and celebrated by the Council races, the Krogan began to colonize many more worlds and expand their territory rapidly. This would have been fine, as I had mentioned in the Solarian video. This would have been totally okay by the Council if they had chosen to do this. However, these newly colonized worlds were already settled by the other Council races, like the Asari and the Solarians. The Council had finally had enough when the Krogan settled on the Asari colony of Lucia. Of course, the Council immediately demanded the Krogan withdraw from this planet, and led to an escalation in the conflict to full-out war between the Citadel members and the Krogan. Named the Krogan Rebellions, the Council continually lost territory to the Krogan despite inflicting catastrophic casualties. Sure, you can destroy 10,000 Krogans in a huge assault, but a million Krogan could be born at the end of the year and be ready to go within a couple months of being born. The incredibly high birth rate allowed the Krogan to keep their population steadily increasing throughout this time. It was clear that this was surely going to result in the defeat of the Asari and the Solarians, until the Turians were asked to intervene. The Solarians also bioengineered the Genophage. It's a virus that the Turians then infected the Krogans with in all of their colonies, which ended the war. The Krogan could no longer sustain their military power through numbers, and their population began to decline. It was a highly controversial thing to use the Genophage at the time, and is still highly debated amongst intellectuals in the current Mass Effect age. To be clear, the virus was not intended to be a sterility plague. Instead, it was, as we learned in Mass Effect 2, supposed to stabilize the Krogan population to pre-industrial levels. Because if you remember, the Krogan evolved in a very violent and hostile world. The high birth rate ensured that enough offspring survived to continue the species. So, with that in mind, the Genophage was engineered to affect fertility to 1 in 1,000 births as viable.
Bioweapon designed by Solarian science team, deployed by Turians against Krogans to end Krogan rebellions more than 1,000 years ago, affects every cell of Krogan body. Commonly and incorrectly considered a sterility plague. Actually adjusts viable fertility rates to compensate for a high Krogan birth rate, stabilizes to pre-industrial population growth levels.
This is closer to the levels of other species like humans, with one child may be born in a year, and this suggests to me that the Krogan may not be such a dying people as we are led to believe, especially because of the effects of the virus. Because of the violent nature of the Krogan and their fatalistic look on life, that may be the more of the contributing factor to their decline. Because you see, hardly any work had gone into curing the Genophage by the Krogan by the time of the first Mass Effect. They focus on fighting and mercenary work. They also take on the most violent and dangerous jobs in the galaxy, further leading to population decline, as Krogan do not survive long despite having the capacity to live for well over 1,000 years. See, Krogan are a very, very long-lived species. They have centuries upon centuries to have families, and it just seems odd, at least to me, that in all that time, they couldn't have stabilized their population. Even if 999 births don't turn out, you still have that one that would. Krogans today have come to resent the Solarians, and more so the Turians, for using the bioweapon during the rebellions. There was also a huge psychological impact on the species due to the Genophage, as an unimaginable amount of child bodies had to be disposed of constantly. A few individuals have tried to rebuild the Krogan again, but have met great resistance, especially from other Krogan. The clan mentality and nature of their culture limit any progress made. Krogan, however, are very resilient, and their bodies did begin to adapt to the virus. This prompted the Solarians to use a special task force to refine the virus and ensure that the infected population remains stable with the virus's level of potency. It is such a difficult subject to think about and very controversial, even whenever you're introduced to the whole concept in Mass Effect. It makes me wonder though, like, was there a better way to handle the Krogan other than the use of the Genophage? Because that happened quite a long time before humanity entered the stage on the galactic level, and still Krogan population was on the decline and their society was still just broken and had stagnated. I'm not sure if that is more so because of the virus and how it affects the Krogan, or how the Krogan are and the way their leaders have kind of been, it feels almost like the Krogan have had an equal hand in their own self-destruction. There does seem to be hope. Leaders like Urdnot Rex have begun the process of trying to rebuild the species and civilization, which means not all Krogan are the violent, mindless creatures that the Solarians and Turians have kind of expected.
Vermeer was a turning point for the Krogan, though not everyone was happy about it. Destroying Saren's genophage cure freed us from his manipulation. I used that to spur the clans to unify under Urdnot.
There's hope that there might one day be a revival, but it's very difficult to say for sure, because it seems like the Krogan in Mass Effect are kind of like at this point where they're either going to survive or they're not. And outside of curing the genophage, any outside of intervention really is not going to have any effect on this outcome. It's just they're going to have to figure it out. It just seems odd to me that the Solarians, with all of their knowledge and their spies, could not have thought of a better way to handle the Krogan, especially in the centuries that followed. Like, the genophage might have been a good short-term solution, but a long-term solution should have been thought of or implemented by now, because it almost seems lazy on the Solarians' part and not offering aid or education or just trying to get the Krogan in a cultural place where they can thrive. But maybe it's a lost cause. It's unsure what's the deal is there. Especially because Krogan can live for so long. A lot of them who were affected by the genophage have also grown up and know of a time before the genophage was the thing. So it's understandable that there can be a lot of resentment, especially if you lived before and are now affected afterwards. I don't know, tell me what you think. Comment below. Do you think the Krogan have what it takes to rebuild? Or are they doomed as a civilization? Also considering liking the video and joining the new Dominion by hitting that subscribe button. It goes a long way towards supporting this channel. And also, if you like to chat more about Mass Effect lore, be sure to check out my Twitch live streams. I stream every Wednesday and Thursday morning, and I love it when people drop into chat and just like to talk.
Fire the main gun.
How do you like that, you sons of bitches?
Get in close and finish him off.
Everybody hold on, gonna be a
That's
wild ride.
twitch.tv/Dusk Cerberus, just like it's spelled here. And now, there is so much more on the Krogan that I could cover, but that would make this video way too long, because they are very interesting, despite kind of, at first glance, appearing to be just, your typical warlike Klingon sci-fi race, right? So be sure to comment on any other questions or things or topics you want to know about the Krogan, and I can make another video for that. Also be sure to check out my other videos on the Solarians and the Asari, or if you just want a kind of beginner's guide to Mass Effect lore, check out my first video here. Anyways, I hope you liked this story in the realm between the edge of twilight and the darkness of night. This is the New Dominion, and I am Dusk Cerberus. I will see you next time on the other side.